Louvres are these little openings, these little kind of gills. You usually get them in long rows, and usually they're pressed. Well, there's a male that goes into a female, and that's tightly controlled and a lot of pressure, and it pops them open. So press, 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 bang, and in they go. There are other ways to make them, and I've been experimenting. I've experimented a few times, never really come up with a recipe. One experiment was just using a wood chisel to cut a slot, and that works reasonably well, varying degrees of neatness. But I've got a little tiny fret saw, a tiny jigsaw, and cut thin lines like that with it, so I can make a tiny hole and then cut the slot and then open the slot up. All a bit wonky. Something else I've been experimenting with is using the bead roller, and I can make things like that if I go around in a circle. And I tried using it for opening the slots up, varying degrees of success. So this is sort of last night. So there's 2 bead rolls, one up, one down. I can't really remember how these ones were done, because what I've decided to do is drill a hole, cut the slot, and then force it down into this wooden former. And what I hammer the shape in with is just a little bit of plywood, so I kind of bang down on that up and down and end up with a reasonable shape. I'm going to experiment with a better fitting piece of plywood rather than relying so much on finesse. I also like the idea of the top and the bottom being different, so a bit of a taper to it, so it definitely looks like it's been hand done rather than just a wonky version of the pressed one. In terms of a press tool, so this just makes a tiny hole, that's all this one does, but you've got a lot of leverage, and then a pin comes down and goes into that hole and punches out a little piece of metal like that. So a Louvre die, some of them are sort of this long, some of them are a foot long, require a lot of force. You've also got to manipulate the panel through it. So this is where I'm at with experiments, and wish me luck.